Hello, everyone. Hi, Sharika.
Watch TV.
How you doing? How you doing? Can you hear me okay? Awesome. Hey, April.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Sasha. How's everybody doing? Good, good, good. Let me see if I can change. I just downloaded a new Zoom. I'm gonna do this so I can see everyone. All right. So, when I do speaker, I'm the one speaking, but I still can't see myself. Why is it doing that to me? Maybe I'll just stay on gallery. Okay. All right. So, welcome everyone to our weekly session. It feels like it's been forever since we connected. I am going to we have with lots to cover today, which is exciting. Let me know in the chat or unmute yourself. Let's, fill each other in. What's going on? The good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing. Um, Make sure everybody wishes Reese a happy birthday. Inbox her on Facebook, wherever. Ever, ever. Hey, Shashan. All right, I'm pulling up.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome.
Good to see you smiling.
I know. I feel good. Thank you. All right, let's talk about it. We got lots to cover. Let's just do our round robin real quick. Temperature check. However, it's just everyone share and updates. Anything, everything. Safe place, no judgment. Just what's going on in your world. Who wants to go first? Can I call names?
We don't have no update. It's been slow and quiet.
No update at all. Hold on. Let me see if I can
No.
get. Well, what are you working on? Hold on. Trying to get my earpods so I don't have all this feedback.
Nothing.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
We have to work on some products. We haven't started yet. I think we're going to start in May so that we can get more vending events and create flyers so that we can get some awareness.
Hold on one second, just so I can. Because I'm getting feedback, and I just want to make sure I can. You guys can hear me. And I can hear you. Okay. No. All right, it's not working, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so Shashan, okay, we can come back. We can dive into that. But anybody else have an update? Happy birthday, Reese. Reese just entered the room.
Thank you.
What's today looking like for you, ma'am?
All right. I'm behind. I have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, I'm talking about for your birthday.
Oh.
I'm like birthday stuff, not work stuff.
It's okay. I worked today. I just went and we just got some dinner and I stuffed myself with bread pudding dessert, but it's okay because it was delicious.
Love it.
And yeah, that's it. Now I'm gonna go home and relax.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, perfect.
Yeah, I don't have anything really scheduled at all tomorrow, so that's ideal
I
for
like it.
the start of my weekend.
Love that. Perfect. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Sasha says happy birthday. Oh, there's little cakes going across the screen. So cute.
Thank you. I'm
Okay.
driving. I can't look.
Yeah, no. Yeah, do not look. Do not look. Okay, so Reese, besides birthday, what's your update? What update do you have, if any?
Oh yeah, that's when I say I have a lot of catching up to do.
Right. Okay. Well, that's okay.
I wasn't able to attend the retreat. I've been looking for a replay. Will there be one?
Yes, there will be.
Okay.
Look at that look on your face. Yes, there will be one.
Because I was at least well, it was my friend's 40th birthday. My best friend's 40th birthday. So
Oh yeah,
I
you
was
have to attend that.
the planner and the executor and all the things. So I could not attend, but I've been looking out for the replay.
Well, and we're actually continuing our conversation this evening, so it's gonna be perfect.
Okay.
So you didn't miss as much as you think you did.
Okay, good.
Or as it feels like you may have. You're all good.
But otherwise, I've kind of been on a big break.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine because you did a big push of work. Sometimes when you do a big stretch and push of work, we underestimate how much work things actually take. And then we're surprised that we get distracted or we're exhausted or we need a big break after we do big work, and it's okay. Life still has to be lived. Awesome. So Keisha jumped in the room. Hey, Keisha, how you doing? So Sasha, I heard from Shashan, April, Keisha, Sharika, Sasha, any of you all have an update for us? Doesn't matter what it is. It could be what you had for lunch. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
I am doing well. I'm feeling a little bit tired. I feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends, so I need some more rest time. But it's been good.
Yeah, you had a lot of shows in a row.
I had 2 shows on one day that worked out really well, and then I have one more coming up on the weekend of the 27th that I have to get somebody to do. I'm gonna talk to my daughter and see if she could do it for me. Go set her up, leave, and then make arrangements for support for her because I'm not going to be able to be there.
That sounds awesome. Sounds like you've accepted it. I like this new saucer, this new boss.
Right? Delegating. I like it too.
Yeah. And you're just like, whereas before it's like, it would have been like, well, how do I do this? Or automatic no. And the other way is not, it's like who, not how.
Right.
That's good. I like it. All right. Keisha, April, Sharika. If you have nothing, that's fine. I'll wait a minute. I just want to make sure everyone's voice gets an opportunity to be heard before we move on.
I don't Zari did her vending event Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah, and she was a little discouraged at first because she wasn't getting many sales, and at the end she was like, well, I should just start packing up. And I was like, well, just wait until the room clears out some. And she did. She ended up doing very well, like at the last minute.
Awesome.
I was excited about her there. And we have another event coming up. I was asked, the venue asked me to participate in a show. And so I am using the children that I've been doing the after school program with, some of them, to put together a scene.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting, but it's going to work out. I've been dealing with Sal, had to, get my in-laws together. And There was something I was going to say.
How about you?
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where we are. If I remember later, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. That's good. Nicole's jumping on. Sharika and April said they don't have anything new that they want to share. Hey, Nicole, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just checking in with each other, checking the temperature. If you have an update, anything you want to share, there's no boundaries around this. Anything you want to share before we jump to we start chatting about something else? Awesome. Okay, so friends, I'm gonna change our view. So we, again, this is our regular weekly get together. So I want to remind you that if there's anything, like literally anything, everything that you're feeling, you're thinking, you want to share with me, share with the group, you need a hot seat. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this to show. I just downloaded the new Zoom. I don't know if anybody has done that, but I'm struggling trying to see myself with this new format. So I don't know what's happening. I can't see myself. But anyways, if you need anything, I still want that to happen during this call, but I know we have some other things I have some other things I want to share with you all. Some things I want you to consider and think through. A lot of you are probably like, based on like the way the conversation started, it seems like a lot of you are kind of like, wah, 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 but hopefully this will, you'll be able to pick up what I'm talking about, and it won't push you over the edge in regards to stress. A lot of this, remember what we started working on in the retreat, was more so like mindset, which could be a heavy lift depending on where you are and what you have going on. Or it could be perfect and right on time, because if things are slower or you're feeling less motivated or whatever it is that's happening in your business, it may be, your body, your mind, the universe, God saying, you know what, you need to like rethink some things, or maybe this is the time when you're not feeling as productive to, do a mindset shift or really think through stuff and kind of sit in things. However, so we have that, but also I want to make sure that you feel, I don't need to give you permission, but you feel, comfortable asking for what you need in this call for this week from all of us, myself included. Okay. So does everybody okay with that, for us to move forward? And also, don't be afraid to interrupt me. If you, any parts of this, if I can get this bug out of my face, any parts of this, I'm going to share the document. Now, this is a document that some of you already have access to. You need to make a copy of it. I did make some changes. You might want to make a new copy. I'm sharing that in the chat. It has part 1 of what we already started working on April 7th, and this is part 2. Again, I'm going to remind you all that, like, I changed, some of the format of what I was planning for you all. I kind of slowed things down based on my interactions with you individually and us collectively as a group. And I just want to kind of make sure that we're all in sync. Some of us are running, some of us are walking, some of us are jogging, some of us are just kind of sitting still, watching other people walk by, because that's what we need right now. And I just want you to just think through where you are and where you want to be, and be okay with that, without the pressure and the drama and the stress. That's really what this whole, retreat experience was all about. All right. So before we get started, as usual, anytime we're doing something that's, thought provoking, I want to do a quick, recentering meditation, 5 minutes. We've done this before, so we're going to do the same 5 minutes. And if you all can, in the chat while I'm preparing to share my screen, let me know if the document opens or if you have any issues with that. I just want to make sure everybody has it before I start talking about it. But I'm going to share my screen. I want to share sound. And what's it making me put in? See, I have to put in my pack. How did I do that at? Okay. All right. I'm going to pull up the chat just in case there's anything. All right. Can you all see my screen? You should be able to see the meditation, just the music. Just let me know in the chat if I did this right. Or else I have to join the Zoom from my phone. Make sure I can see, but it's just easier if you talk to me. Oh, okay. Sharika said, well, that is fancy. That means you must be able to see the waterfalls. Keisha said, I can't make a copy of the doc. You can't go to file copy. Tell me what it's saying.
I'm gonna try on my computer. I was doing something else. I'll try on my computer and see what happens.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So let's move forward. That's funny, Sharika. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. I didn't do it. Oh, you see the floating cakes, Reese? Yay. Okay. Let's all right. Our day, I'm sure, for many of us. Gonna take a moment, kind of sit still. Everybody has space. Just for the next few minutes. You can't hear me. Anybody else hear me? You can hear me, but not well. Okay. Okay, awesome. All right. So I want you to find a position that allows you to be alert. Don't fall off your chair like I almost did. Often you feel the grounded, kind of rooted with your spine. You're gonna align your spine. Or if you're sitting on a bed or you're sitting on a cushion or on the floor, you know, you want to cross your legs down, place your hands down. Right? Let me know if the sound is good. When you're ready and your eyes are closed, I want you to take some initial allowing your stomach to expand fully. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel even more relaxed. Have extra energy so much. Really just put up so with each breath, I want you to feel yourself becoming more and more grounded. Visualize flowing. Giving you a sense focus on stability. Breath, reflecting on the vital moment, setting a calming energy every part of your body. Feel the stability grounding you, providing a strong foundation for the day. As you continue to breathe, focus on the sensation of air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and leaving your body. If your mind begins to wander, gently bring your attention back to these sensations. Embrace the present moment fully. These last couple moments, I want you to really feel your breath. With each inhale, strength and calm in your chest. With each exhale, release everything. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. I want you to notice how you feel. When you're grounded, present, ready. Tackle on the next part of this conversation. Perhaps you have a more clear mind, stronger foundation, and a breath. In. Always. Feel free to unmute yourself or let us know in the chat. Hopefully you were able to hear me and the music at the same time. Do you feel a little better than when we started? Shanta says she feels relaxed. Did everybody go to sleep? 5 minutes to rest. Sometimes that's all we need. All right. So I trust that all of you are still with me and you're feeling something positive. Something positive. All right. So give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to move forward. If you were able to make a copy of the document so that I know that I can proceed. Awesome. Also says she feels good. Come. I got thumbs up. People was able to make a copy. Yay! So today, it's again, I say it's mindset, but this is a little light of a lift than last time we met. And if you notice on the document that I shared with you, I did kind of go over, even though it's above, I just did a quick, recap of what we talked about last time. We talked about this concept of the solvable problem. And that solvable problem, once you identify that, it really allows you the space
and the opportunity to measure the capacity after setting clear goals, actionable targets, and streamlining your efforts to achieve specific business and personal goals. So I keep infusing the idea of personal. While I know this is a mastermind, this is business, but we're also personal. So I'm always gonna, like, the way we do here is it's always personal, right? Everything we do is personal. That's what makes us so unique, right? Because we're working as a family, we're working with children, we're moms, we're caretakers, we're all the things. So personal has to be a part of it. If we're trying to build a business and trying to take our next best step and dominate things and take over the world and make massive impact and get clients and make money, all the things, and we don't include ourselves to take this holistic approach to it, I just don't know. I mean, I think it can work, but it's just going to be really hard. It's going to be less enjoyable. It's going to be rigid. And I don't know about you, but at this phase in my life, I'm really looking forward to ease and flow. I don't know who resonates with that, but that's where I'm at. I'm looking for ease and flow. And when I say ease and flow, I want to be clear and say and follow up and say that I understand that nothing that we're trying to do is going to be easy, but it doesn't have to be as hard. So I think even with our solvable problem and what we talked about last time we met, we talked about how we can tend to overcomplicate things by adding, by, doing too much, by adding so much, making things more complicated than they need to be. So for example, it's like, I want to sell, like, I think we were talking to Tashanta, if I can use it as an example, please. It's like, we were thinking of through the solvable problem, and it's like, well, what's the thing that's stopping us from doing the thing? And it's like, well, I need to learn the software. And it's like, well, is the software what's really keeping us from getting the product out into the world or going live or selling the first thing or doing the sale or whatever it is? Or is the software an excuse, right? So it's like, it feels kind of like icky when we think through how we overcomplicate things, for ourselves. And because that's admitting that we're actually could be the problem, you know? So I don't know. What are your thoughts about that when I say ease and flow? I just think that when we think about how we're flowing through life, it could absolutely be a little bit more, include more ease as opposed to the rigidness and us just making it bumpy because we're almost addicted to the hustle, addicted to the hard. And we feel like, which is brings us to a whole nother part of the conversation when it comes to like worthiness and like if I didn't work real hard for it, maybe I don't deserve it, or it's not going to be good. We've been conditioned to think that, like the struggle has to be attached to something, so let me know in the chat what your thoughts are on that, or just unmute yourselves if you have any opinions of that, or if you even know what I'm talking about.
Right now, for me, less is more. Just like, with Sal's condition, yesterday we went to the doctor and we decided, he and I together, that we would, not provide the specifics. People know what they know, and the stage, treatment, and all of that isn't even relative to it. If you, believe in the power of prayer, then you'll be praying for him. And, as a result, people were upset about it. I get it, but at the same time, we don't need, all of our well-meaning relatives to call and say, oh, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? This tea is good for that. Because we need to process this and, see how it's going to work for us. So in terms of like mindset and managing, it's a lot. And so we had to break it down to make it, palatable for us so
Right.
that we can digest it bit by bit.
Yeah.
And so that's right now where I'm at with less is more, trying to just simplify things.
I like that. I like that. And I really love the fact that you all made it, like you said, we made a decision together, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Because
beautiful.
even his father was like, well, this isn't him. I'm like, Dennis, you got something to say to me? Because, I mean, you could say it if you think I got your son henpecked, but we decided.
We decided this is an us
Yeah.
thing. I like that. That's good. I
Because,
agree.
yeah.
Less can be definitely more.
Yep.
And doing less opens you up for more. It gives you the capacity for more. I feel like it allows more to come in because you're not so full of all the other things that just ended up being distractions
And
and
that's exactly
give you
what we need.
anxiety and just take you off course.
Yeah. Because it's hard enough already. I mean, you see the commercials, you see. And so, yeah, it's like we don't need people who mean well to call and, if he's having a good day, have a good day. I mean, like today, it's 10 years since my mom. I'm okay until everybody starts calling, how you feeling? How you doing? And then my mind starts going. And, I know that already I lost my mom on this day, but when people who mean well, they want to check in on me, I'm like, dang, my mother's gone. And then, here comes the tears unintentionally. So same is true with him. And, while I see him going through it. So that's, what it means to me. And, he doesn't want me to stop anything that I'm doing. So I'm even learning to break that down.
Yeah, good. And you have the space, and now you're creating your own space to be able to do that. I love that. Tashanta also said in the chat, I like ease and flow. I'm tired of working so hard. I want things to align with what I want. Yep. I agree. I'm sure many of us feel that same way. Okay, so again, inside your document, you'll see I kind of take you through the key takeaways that we had from the last time when we talked with that solvable problem. And going through the process of identifying it, and then taking a strategic approach, and then creating an action plan, and then being able to optimize that, and really how that whole process brings about that clarity. So now if you look at what I wrote inside our agenda, I just kind of, when we meet, I kind of go with what y'all give me. So we did the reconnect, and attempted to do the reconnect and catch up with you all. And y'all like, we don't want to talk about it tomorrow. Whatever it is whatever it is. So I'm like, all right, got it. I get it. It's not everyone. I'm just saying, just some of y'all. So that's fine. When we have these calls, another reminder is that part of the experience is me working to push you out of your comfort zone, or to get you to like really share what's going on, because whether it's good, bad, indifference, whatever it is, this is your community, right? You committed to this community, and we committed to you. So it's not going to be a force, but I will say your name, and I will check in with you a couple times. But if you're not feeling it and today's not the day, I will always respect that, But so I know y'all feel that, like, just leave me alone tomorrow. I'm off camera. I don't want to be bothered, but you're still here. So that's what matters. Okay. So again, we've done a lot of everything else, and we're like 6 minutes behind the timeline I gave us. Again, doesn't have to be rigid. It's just a guide. So this piece is us talking about let's getting real. I'm going to share my screen again, just so we all have something we all can see what I am looking at, and it just gives us a nice little something to look at. All right. Hopefully you all can see what I see. Just give me 1 second. All right. So those of you that did not have an opportunity, I will share with you the actual recording of our first session. It was really great. We got great feedback. I thought it was great. Not just because I facilitated it. I just thought it was great. So this next piece, so I want you to go back. So even though you're here today, I still want you to go back and be able to look through this. So this whole idea is an opportunity for us to get real, right? So now that we started thinking about our solvable problem, it's like, well, what's the next thing? How can I do all the things, Tamara, while doing all those things? How can I do all these things while doing all those things, right? So what does that look like? So this is a concept, and I told you all that this was, I pulled a lot of this, and I've been studying this, but it started at a live event that Tashanta and I went to about a year ago now. Was it a year ago? Maybe not even a year ago. I don't know. In Arizona, and it was just like a big mindset shift for me. A lot of the things that I've been talking to you all about. So I wanted to share these concepts and just share and walk you through how I'm applying them in my life, and some ideas that I think that you could use to apply them in your life. again, mindset, but it's also action takes, everything is actionable. So I don't want you to feel like mindset, like what the heck, Tamara? It's like, no, these are actionable things that you can do that will make a difference immediately. Okay. So this concept is all about bumpers, building life bumpers. Okay. Again, just give me 1 second. I was on the Zooms. Now I lost the form I was just looking at. So let me just try and find it again. Can you all still see my screen? Because I can't see it. Okay. Oh, I'm assuming you can see someone give me a thumbs up. I can't see anyone. Oh, Tashanta, I see you. Okay, thank you. Because no one, y'all not talking. Is there a delay or y'all just not talking to me today? What's going on?
I thought somebody had responded by the time I found the mute button.
Oh, no. I was like, what is going on? Because I can't see y'all. So I'm just like, okay, it's fine. I got this. We got this. All right. So here we go. Let me go back here. All right. So this is the whole concept is around building bumpers in your life. And it's like, when I think about this, you can think about the idea of having like bowling. Think about bowling, right? When you're going to pick up the ball and you're running up there and you're doing your little dance and you're trying to look at the pins, and those pins are your goals. And then you have these two bumpers on the side, right? Mostly what do they call it? The kiddie lanes, but the bumpers or the sides can come up, and it almost guides your ball towards the pens, which is your goal, your solvable problem, whatever you say you want. We talked last time about like, if we say we want it, but can we we would say we want it, but can we honestly say that every step we're taking, every micro step, everything we're doing is in alignment of moving us closer towards what we say we actually want, right? Then we also talked about what we say we want versus what actions we're taking and what steps we're taking and what we're actually doing. And does it make sense? And like, really, we started thinking through that. And some of us had like some ouchy moments, because it's like, really, you say that's what you want, but why are you over here doing this? If this is what you say you want, why haven't you started doing what you say you want? So when we think about that, we think about the ball going towards the bowling pins. We think about these bumpers on the side. The whole idea of the bumpers is to keep your ball out of the gutter. Even if you're the ball going towards the goal, is to keep you out of the gutter. Let me know in the chat if you got it, because that's what we're talking about today. That's the best analogy I can give you. Okay. Got it. Perfect. Thank you. Love it. So the idea here of when we think about, when I'm going to encourage you to think through your life bumpers, right, is to decide what your gutter is. What does your gutter look like? And when you start to think through creating bumpers in your life and establishing clear, non-negotiable boundaries in both your personal and your professional life, these bumpers act as safeguards that channel your efforts in productive and meaningful activities. So rather than getting sidetracked by distractions and detrimental habits, you stay focused and you actually get done what you say you're going to get done. Who would like to do that? Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna force y'all to talk to me. Does that sound like, okay, I'm here. I'm in the right place. Okay, good. The purpose of this, number one, focus and direction. They provide the focus framework for decision-making, ensuring that you stay in line with your core values and long-term objectives. I'm not teaching, I'm not sharing anything new. This all comes from our original conversations we've been having, the strategic plan, your 90-day plan, your why, your SMART goals, all the same stuff, your core values. But how do we know we're staying in alignment? How do we stay in alignment? So again, okay, Tamara, how do I do all those things and still do all these things? Also, the bumpers are designed to reduce stress by setting these boundaries around you, the whole of what you will tolerate, what you won't engage in. We just heard Keisha say, we decided, right? It will reduce the number of decisions that you have to make on a daily basis because you already decided. Some of us don't make clear-cut decisions. And so that back and forth, that waffling, waffling, blah, blah, all the things, that's turmoil. It's stress. You're stressful because you know you don't want to do it, but you didn't tell the people you didn't want to do it. You don't want to go, but you didn't tell. Ugh. Also, resource optimization. When you are clear, when your bumpers have been clearly established, you can allocate your time, your energy, all your resources towards this one thing. It prevents waste on less important things. I mean, raise your hand if you got to an end of a week or end of a something, or end of a day, or end of 3 hours, or end of a month, and you're like, I spent all that time working on that for nothing. I can't be the only one. I cannot be the only one because my bumpers were not clear. My solvable problem was not clear. So I've spent all my time jumping and wasting energy and resources in all these different places instead of being straight towards the pens. In addition to this, our bumpers will allow us to improve our habits and our consistency, right? So once we set the bumpers, it cultivates this discipline that builds positive habits in our life. Consistency of our actions, our routines, reliability, trust. It's good for ourselves and for our children, our families to watch us as well. And then we can teach our children how to have these same boundaries. And then also it's super rewarding. I found that like me sticking within my own guidelines that I set for myself, even though it can be really hard, when I do it and I get to the end of the road, because sometimes it feels really uncomfortable, which is anything. I don't care if you're on a diet, you're working out for the first time in the 3 months, you're just climb a stairs, you do a hike, you just decided you're going to drink only water all day, you're going to stop drinking soda, whatever it is, this new thing, that habit you're trying to develop, it's yucky, it's painful, it's annoying, which is why we quit. In addition to that, I already kind of touched on this, enhancing your personal and your professional growth, encouraging you to push against the minimal, standards, so that way you can continually improve yourself. So instead of just being like, that's how I've always done it. Oh, they always get on my nerves. It's okay. It's like, no, it's not okay, because I got new boundaries, new me. Don't even have to be a new year for you to make a decision. Okay. So now what I want to do, so let me know, is that clear what we're talking about today? Let me know. I just want to check for clarity. Because now we're going to start defining what our gutters are. The whole point of our bumpers is to keep us out the gutter. All right. Perfect. Love it. Okay. So now let's talk about defining our bumpers. So when we think about this, we want to think about like, what are I gave you the analogy of a bowling, so now you can picture it. Hopefully you're like me. If you're anything like me, you need that visual. So we want to reflect on personal habits and tendencies that derail your focus or diminish your effectiveness. Get a pen, paper. We're workshopping this out. There's no wrong way. This is your own personal business. If you don't want to share something, you don't have to. I might ask you to say stuff. I just want you to keep talking to me so I know you're with me. So again, I want you to reflect on your personal habits or tendencies that derail your focus or diminish your effectiveness. That's one thing we don't talk about enough. It's like, we know we can get unfocused or lose our focus, but what happens if we're still kind of focused, but we're less effective because we're being pulled in 50 different directions? What does that look like? Okay, that's on your doc, instructions. So consider traits such as being overly accommodating or sacrificing too much personal time for work, whatever. That overly accommodating could be at work, it could be personal, it could be what a human that lives in your house, one of your children, your friends. You only know. So I want you to share these and write down these, identify your gutters. I'll just give you a minute to do that. Hopefully some of you have already started writing.
The document is share only or view only. I can't make a copy, it looks like.
You can't do file. let's see, you should be able to view. You can't do file, make copy.
Oh, okay. It's because I'm on Zoom on my phone, probably.
Oh,
Okay.
I can give you the only thing is if you start editing that one, you're gonna edit everyone's, you know?
Oh, no, yeah, I don't want to do that. I feel like I've been able to do it from my phone, though.
You should be able to.
I'm always on Zoom on my phone.
I was too, but it was something funky today, Reese. That's why I had to get on my computer. I don't know what happened today for me either.
Do you want me to make a copy of this and then just send you a editable copy? I can do that. That's no problem.
And then will I be able to download it though? How come there's no?
I don't know.
Or
We'll see.
save?
I'll change the settings on this to, y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna change the settings to anyone with the link can edit. And let's see how this goes. See if that makes a difference, since it seems like Google Docs is trying to keep us kind of is keeping us in the gutter.
Okay.
Let me know if that works. Okay. Does anybody give me thumbs up if you have identified some of your gutters or your personal traps? Define your gutters, however you want to say it. Reese, did that work?
Yes, sorry, it did. And
Okay,
I
perfect.
actually would love to hear somebody's example of their gutter and
Awesome. Does anybody want to share?
I
Feel
have
comfortable sharing what you got?
I can, if nobody else is.
Go ahead.
Oh, was somebody else talking?
It was me,
One for
Tashanti.
me.
Go ahead.
Oh, go
Virgo.
ahead. No, go ahead, Tashonda. Go ahead.
I said unfocused distractions, laziness, procrastination, overwhelm.
Keisha, thank you, Tashanta, for sharing.
Oh, okay. Mine, hold on, I'm between screens. Being over accommodating to my children, allowing external input, technical challenges, fatigue, and not being focused.
Okay. Can I ask you all a question? Can I ask you all to think a little below that? Like, so you said what you said. Now I want you, if you can, just go a little bit deeper in regards to this, because we're talking about, I mean, those are personal habits, but do you have an idea, or can we think through or talk through where do we get through to that? So you said overly accommodating to my children. I think it would be helpful. It's like,
I identify what that looks like.
yeah, like how so?
Okay, so
like the habit is stopping what I'm doing to go help my kids because they make me feel guilty for not, or I'm afraid of missing out, or I'm afraid, I just want us to dig, and you don't have to share, everyone share only what you're comfortable with, but I'm just thinking, like Tashanta said something like, did you say laziness? Because it sounded harsh. I felt like you were being harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but is it laziness or is it fear? Is it laziness or is it I'm really tired because I'm doing too many things. So now my habit is packing my plate, over scheduling or something. You get where I'm going? I don't want you to beat yourselves up. I just want us to think like, what's the habit? What's the thing that's stopping me from, like, what is it? Because if we identify really what it is, then we know we can work towards how to combat it. But if I just say laziness, then it sounds really simple to say, then I need to take action all the time, or I need to not be lazy. So not being lazy is taking action. But if I don't know what's stopping me from taking action, you get what I'm saying? So it's just a thought. Does anybody else want to share?
I think I just came up with two. One, not delegating enough, specifically to ISIS.
Mhm.
And then two, really, I have a habit of coming up with like these ideas or not thinking through the end, like spending all this time, and it's always something that will take like tedious steps, and I do all these tedious steps and then get to the end and I'm like, I didn't need to do that at all. Like like really needing to just think through a thing, think through like, if I get this done,
Yeah.
like what will the value be? Because it just so often I take a whole day to do something and then it's done and I'm like, well, this is pretty but useless.
What did I what well, yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about that last time we met, and when I kind of introduced, and I've been talking to some of you individually about this too. It's part of the open loop concept of like leaving something, like being infused with an idea, a thought, a concept, a spark of genius or creativity, and just allowing the loop to stay open, allowing it to just to sit in it, right? Like we hear that term all the time, sit in it. And it's like, well, what the heck does that mean? Just sit here and wallow? Like, and usually we hear sit in it, it's a bad thing. But when I say the open loop and sitting in it, I'm thinking like, allow it to just kind of linger in your brain for a little while. Go to sleep on it. Wake up. We talked about this with the list too, making the 3 list. And it's like, take a shower, go take a walk, cook dinner, and then it gives you a time. That's where you take the time, when you give yourself the space and keep the loop open to process how it's going to play out. Think through all the things. Then if it still feels like it's something that you should do because you've given yourself permission to sit in it and think through it, then you can take exit. And then most likely when you're ready to execute the thing, you've already thought through all the steps. So it doesn't take you so long because you don't have to sit in front of the computer and be like, okay, what do I need to do? You don't have to do that first phase of Googling or looking and researching. You know what I mean? Because you pretty much, we have everything we need for the most part. That strategy piece is already done, you know? So I get it, Reese. I feel like I totally resonate with that. All right. So now that we all have something, hopefully everyone has something. April says ditto in the chat. Now let's move forward and continue to talk about, now that we've identified what those, what our gutters are. Let's take a couple of minutes to start thinking about establishing our non-negotiables. So when we think about taking these identified gutters or things that we want that are stopping us from moving forward, we want to turn them into concrete non-negotiables. So we really want to think about practical non-negotiables, like not working past a certain time. So it's on your doc. I'm just going to pull it up so you can see what I'm looking at. Discuss practical non-negotiables, like working past a certain time. So it's like my non-negotiable going forward is I'm done at 6. Like I start my nighttime routine, whatever you need to call it. My family time starts at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., whatever is true for you, right? But you need to put some bumpers on it. And this is not going to be something that everyone needs to do. So I'm just giving you, these are just examples, right? I'm never going to, and this is one thing that is actually a real non-negotiable for me, is like, I'm not doing business with anyone or doing anything that clashes with my core values, or that is not alignment, or is not integrity, right? So that's why, again, this goes back to your strategic plan. We've done all that work. We know what we stand for, what we don't stand for, what we'll do, what we won't do, who we are not. So you can put bumpers around it and make it a non-negotiable. For example, I gave you another example of missing your child's sporting event. Like, I'm never going to miss my daughter's recital. Like, that's never going to happen. So I don't know what you're going to do. Employer, client, world, mama, daddy, other kids, however that's going to work. Okay. So I want you all to think of 3 to 5 non-negotiables that directly address your identified gutters. So now that we know what's stopping you, like what is keeping you in the gutter, like what are the gutters, like, so now let's build some boundaries around them, and what are the non-negotiables based on what you said your gutters were. If you need more examples, I can give you a few more. And I want you to remember that these are non-negotiables. So it's not like it would be nice if. This is like you absolutely refuse to negotiate so your life can be what you want it to be. I will not negotiate this thing. I will not work with these type of people. So if we're thinking those of us that have clients, like, you know, some of us are just setting up our client-based business, and it's like, I already know I don't like this thing, and this thing brings me stress, anxiety, whatever, fill in the blank. So I will never take a client that is this, or that. Or as soon as I identify this, or that, I'm going to end the relationship. That could be any of our relationships. Another thought as you're writing, even though some of you might be having some trouble, you know, it's like, okay, what do I, from now on, he says, Tamara, from now on, I refuse to what? Like that feels very harsh. It feels rigid, even though I've been talking about flow and ease. But the idea here is us putting these boundaries and this rigidity around your life and what you say you want right now, so you can experience that ease later on. Making this one decision, making this list will stop you from having to make so many other decisions. That decision fatigue, that stress that I talked about earlier, it's going to save you from having to go through that over and over again later on. I personally experienced this with like my family. You know, I decided that like there was certain things I was going to stop doing. I was gonna like stop being the one that planned everything and did everything for everyone. And as soon as I released that, it was a struggle. It was pushback. They couldn't believe it. This new Tamara's so funny acting. Like it just got ridiculous. It was like seemingly harmless, but people say things and family happens and you feel bad and you internalize it. And the things that we are accustomed to or think is normal when it comes to our relationship with our family is really could be abuse, you know what I mean? And we don't really realize it. And that affected me. And I remember feeling like being like, fine, and I gave in. Finally, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. If I don't want to do it, the answer is no. They didn't like it. They didn't love it. They talked about me, dogged me out. And I was like, whatever. Now they don't even ask me. And when I say no, it's no. And it's so much easier. So I had to go through that to put the bumpers in place and to make that my non-negotiable. It was a couple weeks, a couple little events before they finally took me seriously. Now I don't have the pressure. I can show up and let somebody else do the work. I'm empowering them to make them step up to the plate. It's all kinds of good things that have come from it. That's just an example. All right. Does anybody want to share, or do you need some more examples of non-negotiables?
The one at the top of my list is the one that I'm, dealing with now. And what I refuse to do is consider external noise when I have, decisions to make. And I'm calling it noise because it becomes noise, even from, well-meaning people. It becomes noise.
I love that. And I think you can apply that to life in general going forward.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Anybody else have one they want to share? You can drop it in the chat or unmute yourselves. one of the ones I wrote when I was actually, like 2 weeks ago, it's probably 3 weeks ago now, when I was actually working through this exercise for myself, in preparation for this moment, I was thinking, it sounds really harsh and wild, but it feels authentic to me. I wrote down that I don't want to, I no longer want to start something new that I'm not willing to do forever. Like, I want to, like, if I commit, it's I'm in it, right? And so when I think about that, so just bear with me, because some of you are probably like, I'm thinking like I'm not going on a um like a random diet, for example. Like, oh, I'm not going to say I'm going to stop eating sugar just for the next 2 weeks, unless I'm really digging in and I'm going to make this a part of my lifestyle. But if I did it because the infomercial said I can lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, this is just an example, right? And it's like, well, what happens at the end of the 2 weeks and I start eating sugar again? It was a temporary solution. I'm going to gain the 10 pounds back, right? So it's like, it's the same thing with like a relationship. Like, I'm not going to do this thing, like walk on eggshells for you or compromise myself for you, because that's not who I am. I can't maintain that energy forever. So I'm not even going to start doing it. I'm just going to tell you right up front, that's not who I am, and this is not going to work. So just think about that. So that for me was like, I could apply it to so many areas of my life. And I was like, okay, that one's definitely going on my list. Definitely going on my list. All right. Does anybody else have anyone that they want to share? Are we good? Give me a thumbs up if you're still with me. Nicole, Sharika, Sasha, April. I'm calling the ones that I haven't heard from or I can't see, just to make sure you're with me. Awesome. Thank you,
I'm
Nicole.
good.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you, April. I think that was April. Okay, so as we move from there, so does everybody feel good about this list? Do you feel like this list is something that you can actually do? Because I don't want y'all to make this list and be like, this was ridiculous and I'm done with this. So the next phase of this is, now I want you to visualize your success. Okay? So now this is an actual exercise. This is the thing you need to do. We're going to do it. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a day fully aligned with your non-negotiables. Visualize how this alignment changes your daily activities, your feelings. Think about what you're doing differently. How does this feel for you? And you can just write down how you feel, reflection, anything you want to share. And I want to hear from you some practical ways that you plan to integrate these non-negotiables into your daily life. What does this actually look like in the wild? So imagine it, visualize it. And then I want you to share, if you feel comfortable, how can you see this playing out? Like, how do you see this, you integrating in this into your life? Anybody can go. You can write it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Is everybody still writing? Let me know in the chat if you need more time.
I think I'm kind of stuck with this one.
Mhm. So you said one of your non-negotiables, I'm sure you have a few, should have a few maybe, but you said one of them was to block out the noise. I'm paraphrasing, right?
Yeah.
So an example would be, how do you see this actually a practical way of integrating this into your daily life? Or like I said, how does this play out in the wild, like in the real world would be, next time we get a phone call, hubby, and people have all the questions, before we even, as soon as we start to feel or sense that that's all, that like, that energy is coming, all the questions are coming, we say, hey, thank you so much for calling. But here's what we're thinking. Here's what we decided. We only want to talk about, or we're only looking forward to, or we don't really want to discuss, like, how does that show up? If you say we're
Okay.
staying away from the noise or blocking out the noise, but people are going to be noisy, the phone's going to ring, is what I'm saying. You're going to be at a family event, and people are going to want to sit down and have a conversation. What are the words you're going to use to stop it in its tracks?
Okay.
So that's the whole thought, like, what does it look like? You exercising and walking within your non-negotiables. Okay. And then the next piece of this, I want everyone to do, since I don't know who, if that's fine. I want you to write out one of your non-negotiables, or actually you can write them all out someplace. This could be a Post-it, a sticky. I got my Post-its here. I want you to write them out. I know you guys are writing in a notebook, on a piece of paper, whatever you're writing. You can do this now, you can do it later, but write this down as part of what I want you to walk away with, is a commitment card. It doesn't have to be a formal card, an index card, a pretty card, but you can make it as elaborate as you want. But put it somewhere visible, on your fridge, in your on your bathroom mirror, someplace, on your car, whatever, if you drive a lot, wherever, that these are your bumpers. These are your non-negotiables. The whole idea of this is for you to have these bumpers, and they will help you maintain your balance for long-term success. Let me know in the chat if you are going to make your commitment card. Commitment card is just a Post-it, a note, a something with your non-negotiables on it, where you can see it daily, so that you are reminded daily until it becomes a habit. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So some of this, it's, I gave you some more details in here on how to build your bumpers in 5 steps. And I'm going to walk you through this, and then we will be able to have a little conversation, if you want, about, how you feel about this whole experience, right? So the first thing to take in consideration when building your bumpers is, and this is practical, because it's like, okay, Tamara, that's a great concept, but like, how do we do this? Like, what does this mean? What does this look like for me? I just told you I got a lot of stuff to do. How is this supposed to work? So even if we just take this week, you can reflect on your past week, to gain clearer insight into where you currently stand, right? We just heard Keisha talk about that. We heard Reese, we had Tashawn. Some of you have already talked about what that looks like. Keisha's is a more specific thing in my head, because it's like, we made a decision. She used those words, and so that's why I'm going to use Keisha. I'm going to use you as an example. It's like, look at the past week and where you are. This is a foundational awareness of like where your non-negotiables really need to come into play. Like, what has been playing out? Like, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're stressed, I'm like, I had anxiety all week, for example, right? So it's like, clearly the details, that's what it's the science of hindsight. I'm looking through this, and it's like, okay, I need to work on this. So one of the other things that this ties to is that time study that we did. So it's like you can look back and be like, okay, these are the things I did that I did not like, or I wasted a whole bunch of time over here. I spent all this time doing something that had nothing to do with my solvable problem or my goal. What the heck? Okay. So this piece of it, this science of hindsight, is really important whenever you, if you're like doing exercises like journaling or doing a time study, or you're taking time to reflect on what happened then, so then you can see where you messed up, or where the bumps in the road, or where you ended up in the gutter. So that way then you can put the boundaries back in place for the next week. Does this make sense? Let me know in the chat if this is making sense. So
Yeah,
part of
this is speaking to me, like.
Okay, good. So part of this is that, like, that time study, you know, taking time to list out, I put it on here for you, taking time to list out where you've been spending your time, you know, and assign minutes, hours. That's that time study that we already did. Some of you already did that, but it doesn't have to be that rigid again. It could just be a journaling of like, last week was a hot mess. I don't know what I did. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I got these 3 done, high five. However, I spent a lot of time talking to my mother about nothing, or my brother about nothing, or scrolling Facebook and I feel even worse than when I started. Whatever, it's going to be personal for you. Okay. The next things is to look at is the patterns of consistency. All right, patterns of consistency. So you want to think about that. We tend to do more on the days when we feel good and less on the days when we feel crappy. You know, but both can lead to results because you're still doing something, right? But notice you do more on the days you feel good and you do less on the days you don't feel good. So think about those patterns of consistency, what's happening in your life. So what we try to do normally is, like, the days we have a lot of energy or we feel good, we try to make up for the days we felt bad. And then it just kind of repeats the cycle, as opposed to just being okay with today, you know, like waking up, checking in with yourself and saying, you know, today, I don't know, I got to kind of feel this kind of way. This kind of hurts, or I got to give some extra love to this person, or I might need to, this is my priority today. So I might not get this much done, being okay with it. Or today is the day, everybody, all the ducks are in a row. Okay, one day life is still lifing, but all the kids are where they supposed to be and doing what they supposed to do, and the man is acting right, or the woman's acting right, or the job is acting right. Some days we have those days, right? So instead of packing with us a lot more stuff, let's just do what we can do and be okay with it and just enjoy the day. So you really want to think about your input and how you're overcompensating, and that pattern and the consistency of how you're getting your work done. And you want to stabilize that. Okay, so this reduces the highs and lows that come from erratic work habits, like, oh my God, I got to get it done. Or I'm going to do nothing and then I'm going to do it all. Right? It's just this ebb and flow of wild that we need to get off. All right. So you want to take some time to write down what that looks like for you. The next piece is eliminating decision fatigue. I talked to you about these non-negotiables and how it's hard in the beginning, but it creates this ease towards the end once it becomes a habit. You want to start automating routine decisions to conserve mental energy. And by automating it, I mean putting your bumpers in place. Like, no, I already said I'm done cooking for y'all. That's it. That's it. That's all. Unless I want to, then it becomes something it's enjoyable. I can make it pretty, like Tashanta creates, because I decided. You want to establish a fixed work schedule or standard meal plan for busy days. However this plays out, these are just examples how they play out in your life. I had to, me personally, this is not an example, it's my example, my personal example, establish a strict work schedule. Y'all have seen my calendar over and over again, but I start, I stop. Even with this new, y'all know I'm doing the consulting thing with the Foundry. They can start talking in Slack at whatever clock time they want, but I start at tomorrow ready o'clock, whatever time that is, and whatever time I put on my schedule, because I know I gotta make my tea. I want to do this to my hair. I want to put on my eyebrows. I want to talk to my kids. I want to do this. And that's just the way it's going to work. Okay. See you later, Tashanta. So that's the kind of things I want you to think about. Okay. So take a moment to play with your calendar, determine how many things you can put on autopilot and how it will help you develop, good habits that will carry you closer to your goal. Remember, bumpers. All right. And then I have novelty here. This novelty piece is, when you're getting started, you would adjust your bumpers weekly or bi-weekly, like you're adjusting your non-negotiables, and it's like, I said I was going to do it, but maybe a little, or I gave in, or whatever, until again, you're building up the muscle. So you want to integrate enjoyable activities into your routine without disrupting your progress. So even though we're building these bumpers so we can work on the solvable problem, like totally going for the pens, that might not be, it's not going to be perfect every single time. So we want to make sure that we're adding in, the fun, fluffy things that we still like to do. And we're clearly setting aside time for the things we want to do, like spontaneous family fun, hobbies, all these other things, but they're not necessarily outside the framework of your non-negotiables, unless you choose to. Okay, so you want to map those things out too. All right. And then I have here, let me move this. There's a novelty. Sorry, you couldn't see that. I apologize. And then we want to talk about suffocating guilt and shame. We want to be done with that. Recognize and eliminate these negative emotions by aligning your actions with realistic expectations. Understand that not every day will be perfect, and that's okay. That's okay. Identify where you're going. Identify where you're doing this and write a promise to yourself around this. We cannot be too rigid. Remember, we started this conversation around ease and flow. I think it's the wildest thing that people feel guilt for not working enough, not making enough, or whatever it is. But without bumpers, it's easy to develop this idea that we must suffer to deserve anything worthwhile. I opened with that. You see how we're coming back full circle? It's like we feel like we have to suffer or we didn't deserve it. Like, what is that? What does that mean? Am I the only one that used to think that or still thinks that or feels that? Or did anybody resonate with that? Or was it just me? Like, if it's too easy, it must be something must be wrong, must be a trick. Because I didn't have to jump through 50,000 hoops because we're used to things that we earned and that we celebrate. It's like it had to be hard. It's human logic, it's like, to be happy, we must be miserable. Our brains get stuck in this idea, and our behavior suggests that we actually believe it. To be happy, I must be miserable. Like, it's like, what a paradox. Keisha said, I used to. Yeah. So I just want you all to think through that whole release of the guilt and the shame. And the reality, like, once we set your bumpers, your brain will immediately start to adjust, and as long as you're inside your bumpers, you're doing great, because those are your non-negotiables. That's what you said you want to do. Like Keisha said when we started, you decided. And you'll continue to move towards what you want, knowing that you deserve it, and the guilt and shame will start to disappear. Okay. So now I'm going to stop my share. And I want to know how you are feeling about what we discussed today. I'm gonna plug my laptop in. It doesn't die. Change the view here. All right. So who's here with me still? We got Charika, Reese, Nicole, Sasha, April, and Keisha. All right. Give me some feedback. Tell me how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and then I'll let you go.
I think this commitment card is exactly what I need. But it's taking a lot to come up with what's going to go on the card, but I'm going to spend time to figure out what's going on it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the rigid part. It's like setting the bumpers is it's rigid, but in order to create that flow later on. Yeah. It's not easy.
Go on the refrigerator for everybody to see.
Yep. You'd be like, did you see this?
Yeah,
I was like,
just it reminded me, just small tangent. A friend of mine who has been really suffering with long COVID is doing this. She's included in this trial or study or something, and she wears this like wearable thing that literally like one of her biggest symptom, I guess, is just like fatigue. And this thing that she wears like tells her like, nope, you've done enough for today. Time to sit down.
wow.
And like, and even she'll be like, I feel good, but like whatever it's reading, it's like
It's like, go sit down, girl.
you need to be done. So she literally like somebody would be like, oh, you want to whatever? She'd be like, nope, can't. like it tells me I can't.
I
So
love that.
it just
So
reminds
that's
me.
acting as her bumper. So now
Yeah,
you can create yours.
yeah. She's like, sorry, can't.
Yep, can't do it. It's okay. It's similar. And Reese, since you're talking about that, one of the other example that popped in my head, because you're in this process of like developing your wholesale, and your give back campaigns and like all this thing. And a lot of us are in this space in our business. I remember when we finally decided to say no and put bumpers and non-negotiables around our give back with Zandra. And we set an amount. And when people came, we had a standard email and letter that said, we have exhausted all of our whatever. And it was like, we love you, but we can't, but we'll keep you in mind. So it just made things, it took it, because they used to like, it was like anguish between me and her, because we wanted to save everyone. We wanted to save everyone and do all the things and give everything away. And it's like, but we're not making any money because, this is before I knew, so once we made that decision, it was just so easy. Even her at like 14 years old, she'd be like, oh no, we've exhausted all of our funds. Yeah. But I gave her permission. I gave myself permission. We gave each other permission. And we were both so empowered by just making that decision. And we didn't feel guilty, even though it was something that was so close to our heart. You know what I mean? Because it was like, we can't survive if we keep giving everything away, So I just thought about that and how powerful it was just making that decision and putting that bumper there. And doing the work to come up with like, how much will it be? Okay. And I was like, we can raise it. Just this year, we can only give away $500 worth of anything, whether it's cash, in kind, sponsorship, product, whatever, just this year. And then we were able to raise it each year or every 6 months. We can always come back and revisit. So it was a struggle, but it just made everything so much easier. So I like. All right. Anybody else want to share? You all are extremely quiet today. I'm assuming everyone has children, family, stuff. I don't know. Keisha?
No, I'm here. No, I just wanted to say again, this is amazing for me though. It is right in alignment. When I say I've been, well, not even having a rough day, but yesterday was rough. And then with hearing from my sister, because well, let me just tell y'all what happened. My, Sal has cancer. So we went yesterday to get, all of the markers and the pathology back and so forth. He was overwhelmed, and I sent out a text to everybody, including his parents. In a nutshell, it said, "Don't call us, we'll call you." And, pretty much
Yeah.
it was, and like I told them, I was like, you all forget I'm sick too. And it was definitely a bumper because when I see him broke down, I can't sleep. So I'm up at night. And it's a domino effect. Then I got my kids looking at me, well, Mom, what's happening? This, that, and the third. If I get sick, it's going to be a lot going
Yeah.
on because, everything will shut down. So I have to keep myself strong. And so that's why this was like right in alignment. I even texted him. I was like, you won't believe what we're talking about. And that's what I had to explain to my in-laws today. Like, I mean, my mother-in-law eventually, she was like, okay, I just don't like group text. Okay, fine. You was on it with your kids, but
Right.
I get it. But,
Yeah.
my father-in-law, he was, talking around it. And, when he talked us out, he didn't even mention it. But yeah, I definitely, understood completely and can see already how I can apply this to business. So I'm going to have cars everywhere.
I
Because
love it. We have to be
I'm really,
reminded.
yeah. And especially, what we have going on now. I know even more for me to stay focused. That's, what it is. And that's why sometimes my business suffers because all of the external noise, you see something, you see an ad, and you're like, oh, I want to try this and I want to try that. And you start switch tasking, and that means nothing gets done. So it's, I'm like everybody, the whole world is not ADHD, but we do a lot of switch tasking and,
Because if you
a lot of
I
things
feel
to
like
distract us.
society has conditioned us. If you don't have 50 things going on, you're not valid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you're still only doing that one thing. It's like, yeah, this one thing is how I'm going to make my first million. This one thing is going to retire me. This one
That
thing
part.
is how I'm going to leave a legacy for my kids. Yeah,
Mhm.
did one thing. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Watch me. Nicole, I know, switch tasking.
Did you hear that word before I said it, Nicole?
No, me, I hadn't.
No, but I know exactly what you mean. So I'm just like, oh yes, say it again. And then you said it again.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot and growing into, because I had a moment last night with myself because my sister was like, yeah, you are kind of bossy and controlling. And I had to think about what everything means to me and what it would mean for me to stay well, what it would mean for me to keep Sal well, keep him sane. And when we went to the appointment, the nurse was like, wow, you came in here with all these papers notarized. You came in here with this, da, da, da. Yeah, I already knew I was coming. I'm ready to do business. I'm ready, and I'm like, you know what? That's where I've been going awry because I've been letting too many people in my head, in my space. Social media, I'm watching social media, I'm watching, oh, why can't my business do that? Because it's not their business. Keisha, mind your business, mind your family, and just stay, true to what you're doing. And it just means that I just need to, refocus. And it's been a great thing to be able to just breathe and just take a moment.
I
So,
love
and
it.
this just was right in alignment to close it up. So I don't even have to curse them out no more. I'm just gonna go ahead on and say what I said.
I said what
And
I
that's
said.
what it
That's
is.
it. This is what it looks like for me. It's like, how are you
Yes.
guys doing? Oh, we're doing great because we just decided
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to refocus on,
Yep.
and most people are going to be like, but the people
Mm-hmm.
that get it, it's like what they say, if you know, you know, they're going to be like, good for you.
Yep.
Good for you.
And
High
so that's
five.
what
All
my
right, girl.
brother-in-law,
Give me a
his
hug.
cousins, they was like, little Dennis was like, okay, fine, let us know, if you need us. Cousins, let me know if you need us. But and I get it, the parents, but I'm like, listen, y'all not here.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all snowed in Buffalo. What's the matter?
Not Snowden, Jesus. Give me Snowden in Buffalo. Under in the
It's sunny one day in July.
in the cave. I know. Nicole said, I'm teaching myself how to be okay with things not being okay or
Yep.
perfect, without losing myself. I teach my students this, but I'm hard on myself when it comes to self. So this is so needed. Good. I'm glad, Nicole. And listen, I'm more than happy to continue to push everybody towards your pins or towards your solvable problem, towards your goal without it being perfect. We don't need all the things. We can talk about how to make things amazing, but can we at least just get it out into the world first? And let's see if people even want it. And that's whatever it is. And that could be even the communication. It could be even Keisha's with her new non-negotiables. It's like she doesn't have to nail it right away. She just has to put it out and let the family know that this is what we decided. They're gonna come back. They're gonna say things. She's gonna have to figure it out. There's gonna be a pushback. It's gonna, but at some point, it's gonna calm down, and they're gonna be okay with it. And then the delivery will change. You'll say it differently because you feel more comfortable. Because maybe people start to receive it, and you don't have to be aggressive with it. So it's a work in progress for all of us, no matter what your situation is or whatever your bumpers look like or your non-negotiables look like. It's a work in progress. All right. So I hope you all are feeling, Nicole says, I feel like God, why you told Tamara on my business? But thank you. That's hilarious. I love it. That's so funny. I love you guys. We got this. Let's stay connected, please. It doesn't matter. We can't shock us, right? So we are here to support you. We're in this community. We're in this together. Whatever it is, we got you. Whatever it is, I got you. Let's keep moving. Let's refocus, stay focused, and let's start practicing what we say we want. If you say you want it, are you doing everything in your power to micro step towards that one thing? And it's going to shift. Right now, Keisha's one thing is her family's health, all of it, holistic, mental, physical, emotional health, and that's fine for that to be your one solvable problem, right? For this moment, if you can work on something else whenever you feel like it, great, good for you. But just keep it light and keep it easy. All right, friends. Yes, Reese, the replay will be up. Keisha said she has an opportunity for Reese. You want to tell her now? Or you want to Vox her?
Oh yeah, it's so the venue that Dana, the email. So I met with them today, and I forgot that I had y'all tonight. So I took all my clothes and hair off. So I'm looking like Wild Bill. So so that's why I'm not on camera, but because I was pretty early, I was cute.
You're
So
always cute and pretty. Always.
so Isis can vend if she wants to. And you know what? I may even, I don't know, does she want to present something? It's at the Black Rock Center for the Arts. They contacted me to help them to put together the program.
I feel like Reese's on mute, but she's definitely gonna have a lot more
think
questions
so.
because she's that mama. So you're gonna have to box her all the details or send her something to read.
Yeah,
I was
she could
about
call
to,
me.
yeah, I was like, I think we should just talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Send,
know
All right.
send me stuff and yeah, we'll chat. But
Okay.
thank you. Always thinking of us. See that, Keisha?
Keisha, she always trying to.
Yes, we grow together, glow together.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right, friends, have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you in your DMs, Voxer, Facebook, wherever we be at. I'll be there.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.